Good morning, YouTube. It's 11:13 a.m. Monday, November 29th, 2021. I got today and tomorrow, and then this month is over, and it'll be the 1st of December. I'm not even sure where I'm at with all my various credit line payments and I should probably be more concerned about those, but at this point I'm not. The two big expenses I'm facing right now are my apartment rent and my storage rent. Trying to figure out how to handle all that in 2 days. I don't know. Maybe rob a bank tonight. I don't know. I don't freaking know. This would be the first month. I absolutely don't think there's enough available credit to cover my storage. So probably gonna start by trying to resolve that. That's probably the bigger picture I need to work on. Somebody in the park with dogs. That's adorable. And also something I want to walk in the opposite direction of. Yeah, I don't think I want to be a part of those two dogs fighting or playing or whatever the hell they're doing. Oh wow, I noticed this. There's a little stump right under here. I'm surprised the city didn't remove that. I can see somebody running through the park actually getting hurt on that. So this area of the park, I walk through and I film it a lot. And I wish I had some film pictures of what it looked like when I moved to this neighborhood about 6 years ago, or even as recent as 4 or 5 years ago. There used to be so many. I mean, there's a decent amount of trees in this area, this corner of the park, and now still. But there used to be a lot of trees in that area. It was like pretty thickly filled with trees, and over the course of 2 years and rather intense monsoon season storms during those 2 years, surprisingly, oh look, it's a tequila bottle. That's awesome. A surprisingly large, a substantial portion of the trees in this park got knocked down by extreme winds in those storms. I mean, to the credit, the city did come and clean up that mess pretty quickly, and including one that was next to the. Actually, there were two different ones that fell that were right next to the public pool over there that severely damaged the. Oh, look, it's another one of these. The second one of these I've seen in the last recent times. The anti-theft device, most likely from the Target in the shopping center. One of the stores in the shopping center. Anyway, yeah, no, they did come along and they cleaned up the lots of homeless people camping in this park. It's unbelievable the level of that these days. Absolutely unbelievable. Like this whole corner in particular. I mean, there's that one tree I walk by, but yeah, this corner is just always full of just people squatting, and also along the sides of Oak Street. I don't know, it just blows my mind. This was such a somewhat, considered kind of an upscale area when I moved here, and it's my God, has it changed in the last year. And not only that, in that last year, my rent has gone from $650 a month to $925 a month, and it's my understanding that is an insanely inexpensive. Still, at $925 a month is an insanely inexpensive rent for this part of town. Gosh, one of my neighbors just told me there's a new complex that just opened south of the QT, and you can probably see me walking by it in several of my videos, although usually I seem to be walking down that portion of 44th Street at night, so it's hard to quit honking, you assholes. So it's hard to see it at night, but yeah, there's a new well, actually, it's real easy to see it right now. Here we go, giant building directly to the south of me, behind the mental health clinic and the QT. I believe that complex consists of 3 pack and stack style buildings. Well, thanks for blocking the sidewalk, a-hole. You are blocking the sidewalk. Blocking the sidewalk, blocking the sidewalk. Alright, so I should get something to eat. I think I'm alright for now. Anyway, what was I saying? Sorry, my thoughts are so jumbled lately. Anyway, my neighbor's telling me that the rents at that place are something like $2,000 a month. And I've been watching that most of the single-family homes in my neighborhood, at least the ones to the north, which granted are considerably nicer than the ones to the south, but the ones to the north, when they've been selling, have been selling around $600,000, $700,000. So, I mean, this is not a this is not such a low tier for a neighborhood where there should be homeless people lining the streets. But yeah, here they are. And we got all this gravel on the sidewalk. So, I think you squarely blame that on QT. Who has a walkway there that, for whatever reason, doesn't connect to the sidewalk. That's your typical pedestrian infrastructure in Phoenix, though. It's not even thought of. Yeah, there's a crosswalk here, dude. Actually, that was my bad. I'm crossing against the light. I just know the sequencing of this light so much, you know. When the left arrow is on, that means if I get to the median, and I actually have a chance of getting all the way across 7 lanes of Strode before the light changes. All right, I'm almost this parking spot, so I'm gonna. It's bus stop, so I'm gonna wrap this up. Hang on, I should probably check and see where I'm at bus schedule wise. Wow, down to 20% already on the iPhone. You know, I've had people ask me why I need to carry so many damn phones, and you know, it's really weird that the short answer to that is I'm poor, but that's kind of what it boils down to. I mean, I can't afford to put service on this iPhone because I'm poor, and because at this point I'm poor, I don't have a car that I can keep my phones charged in. You know, of course, pretty much every phone is equipped with some kind of a phone charger, but when you're on foot, you don't have that, and it's really frustrating that as much as the bus system, as much as at this point riding the public buses is reliant on using this, you can't really see it, contrast, I can see it in the distance, but I can't see it in my window here. But anyway, yeah, with as much as riding the bus is reliant on using this app, and car had the right of way, dude. Yeah, that guy clearly rolled through on the red light bike on a street that doesn't have bike lanes and really isn't bike friendly. I'll at least give the bike props for being in the lane where it belongs and not on the sidewalk, running into pedestrians like myself. Wow. Almost got footage of a bike getting plowed. That would have been fun. This Obama phone number 2 has such a happy ring sound. At least I can hear that one. I never hear the other Obama phone ring unless it's like right, like actually in my hand when it rings. Oh yeah, it's just frustrating that as much as riding riding public transit at this point requires using an app and a very a very heavyweight app that uses notable data and processing power and sucks your battery down. that I don't know what his messages are. I probably just read it. That that they don't provide a what do you call it? They don't provide a any kind of charging ports anywhere in the bus. It seems like that's something at this point. You know, they've eliminated the bus book. They've eliminated any kind of signage at the bus stops as far as what route stops at the stops and what times are service at that stop. You know, since they've removed that and pretty much put all that online, it would seem to me that, you know, obviously there's other programs that provide free smartphones, but it would seem to me that they need to make the app lightweight enough to run well on those phones, because it don't, and provide a place in the bus to charge it, or at the bus stops to charge it. And I'm not recommending that, because I expect that would be vandalized horribly. But I mean, obviously there's a 12 VDC system running on the bus. There's probably also a 5 VDC system there as well. So it wouldn't take a whole lot of effort to put USB ports or small charging dongles. And there went the northbound 44. The length of the bus. So I'm looking here, and I got here at 11. Well, I don't know what time I got here. I've been sitting here running my mouth for a bit, but it's 11:25 now. Next bus isn't until 11:46. So 20 minutes. 20 minutes away. God, this bus runs. I'm looking at the schedule, and this bus actually runs less frequently than every 30 minutes. It's fucking ridiculous. I got things I need to accomplish today, and I expect that there's just no way I'm gonna get them. There's no way I'm gonna get them all done. With the transit being what it is. I mean, I get here, my first 30 minutes is spent just walking to this intersection and then waiting for a bus to eventually come along. And I can see one of them is already listed on the list, not the next one, but the one after that is already listed on the list as delayed. So God knows if it's oh, actually just now it says it's on time. So props to that driver for making up for lost time. Yeah, that taxi is speeding. That taxi's speeding and tailgating. But he's a safe driver, and I can't get hired because of my record. Thanks, Yellow Cab. Looking out, Papa Sangs. All right. I don't know. Do I wait 20 minutes? So the three biggies that I need to get done before 5 p.m. So in the next 5.5 hours is I want to my case manager down at LifeWell has suggested that and she's been suggesting this for a while, and I did try to use this particular service at the clinic a long time ago. I want to say maybe 14 years ago, and it didn't end well, and the whole thing was just frustrating. But she thinks that I should. They have like an employment counselor or whatever her position is. I don't know the actual name, but basically somebody that helps pair patients or consumers, as we're referred to, but patients at the clinic. Those of us with severe mental illnesses with jobs. I don't even feel like discussing my past experience with that, but it was pretty disappointing, to say the least. But at this point, I figure I'm desperate enough to give it a shot. My case manager's been suggesting it now for months, and every time I'm just like, yeah, they're not going to find anything good for me. At this point, I'm going to give it a shot. Says that. That's kind of the direction I'm heading in now, because I think there's the northbound bus to connect to Thomas, but it's a half-mile walk. It doesn't take too terribly long. I mean, seeing that bus, I know it's going to be at least 30 minutes on the next one. And realistically longer, because they're often late on this bus. And as I just saw reviewing the schedule, they're not every 30 minutes. They're actually spaced marginally farther apart than that. There's many 40-minute intervals between them on the schedule, and like 35-minute intervals. But as you can see, I mean, there's everybody on this road drives. Nobody needs a bus. And to be fair, every person I see walking looks homeless. So, and I probably look homeless myself. Wearing the same clothes I've been wearing for days, because I haven't had my car to take my laundry to the laundromat. I certainly don't have the expense to use a rideshare to go to the money to use a rideshare to go to the laundromat. Now there are washers and dryers at my complex, but that damn near requires a vehicle as well, because it's at the complete opposite end of the property, and it is just shy of a quarter mile away, which isn't a long distance, but it's a long way to walk with a laundry basket. I just checked the schedule. You got about 20 minutes. 20 minutes. That's something that's bus rider behavior. That, wait, is that a bus right there that they can see? No, that's a UPS truck. Yeah, that's a common bus driver rider behavior that I've always found kind of appalling, and I try not to do myself, but yeah, you have bus riders wanting to know how long it's going to be on their bus, constantly walk out into the road and try to look up the street, see if they can see the bus, as opposed to using the app to see where the bus is and when the bus should be coming. There's two other services for seeing that. They're not quite as accurate, but they're all right. Another campsite going on here. At times, it looks like a pretty nice blanket. You can just open a browser and go to the NextRide part of the website. There's like 3 ways to do it. NextRide has got 3 different ways you can access it. You can access it from valleymetro.org. I'm not exactly sure how you get to it. To be honest, when I've always had trouble finding it on the website. Their website is not the easiest thing to navigate, but it's there. And you go to the prompt and you key in the stop number that you're at, provided nobody's stolen the sign that says the stop number. And to be honest, I didn't look at that stop to see if the sign is still there. But you key in the number and it tells you when the next buses will be there. Unless it's going to be more than, I think, 2 hours, then it doesn't tell you. Then it just tells you there's no services at the stop in the next 2 hours, which is a really frustrating thing to see when you're at a stop and you're far from home, or far from wherever you're trying to get to. That service can also be used by calling the bus, which is 602-253-5000, and at the voice prompt saying NextRide. Although I've said in many of my vlogs how problematic that can be, because these roads where the bus routes are such noisy streets that if you're calling from a mobile phone, usually the voice recognition software can't make out what you're saying over the noise of all the traffic. So there's that. I wonder how the software engineers are working on that. To be honest, I don't see a solution to that. It's just shitty. This is what it is. Oh, God bless that Comerica Bank. You guys have some of the best free Wi-Fi in this area. Everyone this person likes you. At least the ones that are smart enough to search and log onto it do. All right. which sucks because there's my bank across the street and they don't offer that. And my other bank across the other street. All right, where was I headed? Oh, I'm headed. Okay, there's another bus stop. Oh, and the other thing was to say is the other way of using NextRide is to text, and that's actually usually very functional. I mean, I had some issues with my first Obama phone using it, and I think I want to blame that on the phone. Honestly, at this point, I think it's a setting in the phone. I just don't know how it's set. Nobody's bothered to explain this to me, and I'm just kind of finding out by trying to decipher error messages. But so apparently at this point, Google has tried to come up with their own equivalency to iMessage. Now, I've understood for a long time that iMessage does not use SMS, unless you actually, by default, does not use SMS for when you're sending a text message from an iPhone user to another iPhone user. It goes direct via the internet, TCP/IP, and it does that in a way that though that it's identifying everybody by phone number by default. So the average user, it looks like they're just sending a text message. It's easy to, for the longest time I just was sending text messages, which is why when I first got the Obama phone and I started using it, I was bewildered that so many text messages were still coming in on my on my iPhone, and what it ended up the situation was is that iPhone was still using iMessage to communicate with everybody in my contacts that had an iPhone, and it was still identifying me as my phone number. So those people, even though were sending a text, as far as they knew on their iPhone, were sending a text to my phone number. It wasn't actually going to the phone that had that phone number, but actually the last thing that was logged in with iMessage as utilizing that phone number. Now, I think when my friend Jeff removed my SIM card, when he tried to put the SIM card from my Obama phone into my iPhone, and then he booted with that on, and the problems we had with it, I think that went, by default, basically told iMessage, hey, this SIM card with this number is gone. We no longer identify this iMessage client with this phone number, and which sucks, because that's the moment when I was unable to receive those messages, and I really liked receiving those messages. So yeah, that sucks ass. When I kind of later, and this is quite some time later, kind of learned a little bit more about, okay, that's how iMessage works. That's why that was happening. And it's interesting that Jeff, who's like the cell phone expert, didn't understand that and wasn't able to explain that when I was like, hey, why is this doing this? So you would think somebody who previously owned a cell phone store would just like that would be just top of mind stuff for him to explain, just how I would, as a person who does karaoke for a living, would explain why a karaoke track, for instance, has a lead vocal present in one side of a stereo mix. Like someone's like, well, this is weird, why is this like that? And then they describe, well, it sounds like karaoke, but there's a lead vocal that I don't want to be there, and it's just on the left speaker. Like, why? Like somebody said that to me, I'd be like, oh, that's a multiplex track. And that's not common knowledge to the average person, but it certainly should be common knowledge to anybody that does karaoke for a living, or has done karaoke for a living. And now I'm wondering how many KJs I could ask about that would know what that is. Maybe I'm just assuming a lot for KJs, but apparently I was assuming a lot for Jeff to understand the whole, how iMessage works by default, because he wasn't able to explain that, and apparently wasn't aware that, and I explained to him that it's something that I liked until I could get it resolved, and didn't, you know, forewarn me that swapping those SIM cards out would remove that functionality and I wouldn't be able to restore it, because I haven't been able to restore it. But I finally found out how to use that. Oh shit, I gotta wrap this up. My boss is here.